thought I'd jet through some of these questions real quick since I had posted a week or two ago about answering questions and I never got around to it. So we're going to go through and answer some questions that you guys have left on my YouTube videos. I'm going to start with one here. Hey, James, how do you keep track of your profits as far as what do you make profit? Because I know eBay keeps up with your sales basically, but how do you keep up with your profits, either daily, weekly, or however you do it? I do it by pen and paper and calculators. When it starts becoming a hassle when you're selling more. Well, I don't do it individually. I got a Excel spreadsheet. I have categories for money that goes in the bank, shipping expenses, products bought, bills, supplies. So I've got a column for each. Obviously, what goes into my bank account goes in the first slot. The second one is my shipping costs. I don't use eBay shipping. I do outside with stamps.com and Pirate Ship. And then that goes straight to an American Express card. So I know exactly how much I'm spending on shipping via that bill. So those numbers go into my spreadsheet. Next one is product spent. Obviously, keep your receipts. If you do yard sales, write your own hand receipts. Keep track of it that way. And then what bills you pay, like whether it's supplies or, car payment that you're writing off as a business, your internet connection, your phone bill, anything you can write off as a business. Your goal is to have as little profit as possible. I mean, if you don't have debt, you either want to put the money back in the business or spend it on business items, because then that's less money the government's going to take. If you don't have debt, like me right now, I'm paying off back debt, so I want to have the profit, so I'm not spending other than product bought. But you want to have as little profit as possible because that's less taxes, so take more in payroll. If you need a new business computer, need a new business phone, you need to take a business trip, quote unquote. You take a vacation and you do some business shopping on that trip, that's technically a business trip. You can write the whole trip off, gas and everything, food, all the above. So you got to take advantage of having a business. That is, if you are a business, take advantage of it because that's what it's there for. It's for you to, if it's business related, you can use it as business expense. So I just look at it every month, and every month my bottom line will tell me in green if I'm up, red if I'm down, or black if I'm down, I should say. And thankfully this year I've been all green. I think last year I was all green. But yeah, that's basically what I do. So yeah, piece by piece is pointless. I do an average. I know what all my items coming in average cost is about 25 cents. You do that by the timesing the total you spent with the amount you do, keep a running total of that, and at the end of the month you can do the math there also. And then going out, it's pretty simple on eBay. You can just click the month, go all the way down. If you archive it, click the month, go all the way down. There's your bottom totals right there. Or you can use your Excel spreadsheet. So let's see. Try to collaborate with other resellers. Your subs will increase. Yeah, the thing about, I put out the video about helping me get more views and what have you, and collabs and all that. My problem is time. I spend more time. See, I don't have all these big incomes with YouTube like a lot of these other people do. Whether it's Daily Refinements or Rockstar Flipper or Raleigh Roots or whoever. My money's made with actually working the business, and I'm not saying that they don't either, but that's my sole income right now. So when it comes to collabing, it's all about time for me. So I really don't have too much time to do it. I was trying to make an hour at the beginning of the day, an hour at the end of the day to try to interact more, but it just got too much too. And so I just started in with these short videos. This one's obviously long. It's 4:30 and I've got my goal made for what I wanted to list. So I go, you know what, I'm taking a rest. I'm going to breathe for an hour and then get back to it. So that's why I'm doing these questions now. So it's time for me is a big thing. And, I'm running a household. My wife works 50 hours a week outside the house. My dad, who's 84 years old, is here. I have to clean up and watch after him. And today I had to get him a shower, different things like that. 2 needy dogs. So there's hair all over the house. So vacuuming almost daily. Laundry. 2 kids still living at home. So I got a lot going on that takes up a lot of my time. So having time to do a collab, I'd like to, but it's just, it would have to be about time. So that's my thing there. Let's see. I don't know what that's saying. I'm trying to do these quick so there's less dead time here as I'm scrolling. Let's see, I have 2 questions I'm curious about, and of course, eBay can't give a straight answer. I have everything in my store promoted, but somehow yesterday I got an organic sale and I'm getting organic views. How does that work if it's all promoted? Well, just because you're promoting don't mean your items are not coming up organically also. They can't, I don't think legally, I don't know the details there, but it's not just all promoted all the time. You do have organic sales in there. Depending on what you're the way I understand it, depending on the percentage that you're promoting, depends on how high your promoted sales are compared to your organic sales. Mine, I run a pretty high promoted percentage. So my promoting listings compared to organic is usually about 70% promoted, 30% organic, sometimes 75-25. So you're always going to have organic. They can't, I don't think legally can make it all promoted. So then also too, your items are, I've learned by watching the trend week after day, week after week, month after month, is there are lull times in the promoted area. So you'll get more organic during that time. What it seems like for me is between like 5 and 7 p.m. Central, my items fall down into the best match category, and I guess other people get shots at certain times. So it kind of fluctuates. And I have a way of checking where my biggest item in my store with the most amount of items is an adjustable baseball hat. So I type that into eBay search, best match, pre-owned, and then I can see how many of my items are coming up pretty high in the listings. I usually run a page of 200, and when my items are being promoted and my sales are just rolling in, I've got 25 of those 200 hats are my hats. Some are promoted, some are organic. About 5 and 7, between 5 and 7, I'll do that search because I notice my sales just like whoosh, sink, and I'll do that search, and I might have 3 hats come up in those top 200s. So it does fluctuate, and I'm guessing that's just so everybody gets a shot. And then also too with the algorithm, I'm guessing it has to do with the percentage you're promoted. If you're only promoting 1%, the chances of you being up at the top are probably 0, but you may get to that first page, maybe for a short period of time. If you do a high amount, you're going to be up high and you're going to be on that first page pretty often, and your sales are just going to roll in if you have stuff that people want. So that's the way I kind of, so you're always going to have organic sales even if you promote. Let's see. All right. Everybody is always asking what percentage do I promote on eBay, and I've been reluctant to answer because it's one of those things like I don't know if I should say, because you're going to get people who's going to hate you for it, and then you're going to get people who can't do it, and you may want to try to do it, but yet you don't have the profit margin in your items to be able to do it. So I'll tell you, I run 15%. And the reason I can do that is because I pay $0.25 an item. Somebody who pays $4 an item and they're selling it for 20, you're not going to probably have an extra 15% play, in your item. Me, I have a quarter, and if I'm selling it for 15, there's plenty of room of profit margin in that item. So I run into 15%, and I run it on everything. And I run sales on everything all day, every day. I end it every month. It ends every month. I relist them, return on the sales every month. So I'm constantly doing that. That's why you'll see most of my hats are priced at like a $13.99 level. So that makes sure I get a higher dollar per average per item. Because one thing about eBay is no matter what you price it is at, you're going to have people coming in and giving you an offer. $13.99 hats, I get a lot of offers for $8. I'm like, hell yeah, $8 sold all day long. But if I started pricing those hats at $8, guess what? Those offers are going to come in at, instead of just buying them at $8, and I've tested this. Times can change, obviously, but I've tested this, and when you do all those hats at $8, well, guess what? Now you get a flood of offers, $6, $6, $6, $6, and that takes down your average per item. So depending on what your item is, if you don't have a lot of competition, you can raise it $1 or $2 and just accept more offers. A lot of people don't turn on offers. They don't want to accept offers. I price to accept offers. So yeah, 15% is what I do. So, and to be honest with you, since I've started doing that, my sales are through the roof, dead serious. When I started doing that, I literally started making my goals that I wanted to do. I'm like, I can't believe I'm doing this. So promoting does work. You have to pay to play in today's age. That's just the way of the internet. If you want somebody to see your post on Facebook, Instagram, you got to pay. If you want somebody to see your video on YouTube, obviously you got to pay, because nobody's seeing my videos except a few of you guys. But same with eBay. You got to pay to play. It's kind of like the back in the late 80s, early 90s. If you were in a band, used to, you could go to clubs and they would pay you to play in a club. Well, then it turned into pay to play. Well, guess what? You got to sell your own tickets. And if you don't sell X amount of tickets, guess what? You're paying the club to play there. So it's almost like one of those situations, but I don't see this one going away, honestly. It's just the way the internet is now. If you want something, you've got to pay for it. So you've got to make sure you buy. That's why one thing's important. You make your money when you buy. So buy as low as you can, because then you can spend more on advertising and getting your name out there. Also, if you're doing a business, create a brand. Create a name that somebody's going to remember. Get you a little logo, whatever the case may be. Get you something, get you a story behind the name. Something kind of like, that's where I went with my latest update when I did it a few years ago with Redemption Agency. I created the name and my real life story to go along with why I changed the name. So that gives somebody something to look at and to connect to. And so, yeah, I had to pause it. Now I lost my train of thought. So yeah, you've got to pay to play now, unfortunately, and make your money when you buy, because you got to pay, buy low, and that gives you more room to advertise. Because if you think about it, every business has an advertising budget. They have to spend so much money on advertising, to be seen, to be recognized, to be found. And just because you're a small business, don't mean you're an exception to that. It actually is harder, because you're not out in front of as many people as, say, a Coke in a Coke machine, or in the refrigerated section in every restaurant or every store across the United States, or world for that matter. You're not in front of so many faces. You're basically invisible. So I also run Facebook ads. I spend, as of right now, I spend $300 a month on Facebook ads to get traffic into my store. So you've got to have an advertising budget to increase sales. That's just the way it is. And you see so many people going, well, you throw money away when you promote on eBay. No, actually, it's the complete opposite. Promote your item. It gets it sold quicker. And that's just a fact. So, and the more money you throw at advertising, the more hits you're going to get, the more chances of somebody finding an item that they want to buy. And that's just plain and simple. So, let's see here. Your sales, yeah, my sales are down. I did try to help. I bought the Trump hat. Well, thanks for buying. That's awesome. Let's see. I actually took all my Make America Great Again hats down because I was afraid somebody's going to end up trademarking that and using it. Because I don't know if Trump did or not. I should have done a research before I took it down, but that's when I had all those issues and I got paranoid. So I'm like, somebody's probably going to trademark that. And so I took them all down. So I doubt that's going to happen now that I'm thinking about it now. But in my paranoid state, I was like, freaking out about everything. I understand your paranoia. Let's see. We're back into the Vero comments. I know I got a couple more questions back here. What is the best way on identifying a vintage hat? Knowing, well, there's several different keys. Basically, it's process of elimination. You got to watch it, look at it until a red flag goes off, pretty much. So that's subject matter, condition, knowing the labels, what the label is going to look like for certain brands at certain times, what a hat's going to look like, where it's made in the USA or not. Most of the vintage are made in the USA. So it's basically when you see a hat, it's a process of elimination because there are repops out there. And so they're made to look vintage. But there will be red flags, whether that's where it's made, the stitching is not quite as good, it's just a little too new looking. So there's different red flags that will set you off when it comes to vintage items. And my lawn guy is here, so I need to go unlock the gate for him. So I gotta pause. All right now. All right, a couple more questions here. It says, first question, do you keep track of your stuff's location? Yes, of course. Listed anyway. When it is listed, you can put in the custom label. When you're listing, you can put a number or code or whatever you want. And you can pop the tote. Like these little drawers I use for media. This one's E77. And you just put in the custom label E77. So when it sells, you know where it is. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. So, but I can only fit so much buckets. So much in a bucket or so many buckets. I see the folded shirts behind you are not in buckets. Do you know where everything is at all times? This stuff's not listed yet. This is stuff I'm working on. For shirts, I have those metal shelving because you can get those usually at Goodwill bins. They usually let those go through those metal shelvings. If you buy them at like Target, you're getting like only like 6 Qs for like $20 or something. I don't know, something stupid outrageous. But you can buy them with the little plastic clips that hold them together. You can get those at usually the pound stores. And I got a wall of those, which part of it's collapsed now. Because I never even put backs on them because I was trying to get as many up as I could, but they aren't as sturdy. I put zip ties on some of the corners, but not all of them, so it kind of collapsed. So if you do without backs, zip tie every corner. If you do with backs, then they're sturdy. And that's what I use my clothes for. Most of my clothes, some of them do go in bins. Second question. Does the more items I have equal more sales naturally, or is it something I gotta do? I have 2,000 items in my store and have worked hard for 6 months and still sales are slow. I sell exactly what you do. That's why promoting, when it's common stuff, there's tons of it out there, and you've got to stick out. And there's, like I said, many ways to stick out. Create a brand, something that's going to remember. Share your stories. Be honest. Be who you are. Be positive about everything, even on your negative feedbacks. Be positive about them, and pay to play. And get your stuff. The more eyes you have on your items, the more chance it has to sell. And that's exactly what it is. I sell stuff higher than what other sellers are selling it for because they're seeing my item over somebody else's. So, and I know that for a fact. So somebody will buy a $13.99 hat from me when there's several out there for $7, $8, $9, but they're seeing mine somehow, some way. They're seeing mine over the other people's, and or they like my story. They trust my brand that I created. They trust me because I am the brand basically behind the name and what have you. Whether they trust the feedback, they see almost 100,000 feedback I got. So people will pay for security and for a peace of mind. So if they see a seller with 100,000 feedback and it's $13, and they see somebody with 5 feedback and it's $8, chances are they're going to go get the $13 one or send you an offer for $8. And either way, you're going to sell more. So it's just about building yourself up. And of course, the more items you have, the more you sell. The sell-through rate depends on the item, the quality of the items you get, and if they want them, and if you can get them in front of people's eyeballs. So there's a bunch of different variables, and it's taken me a long time to try to figure out exactly how to do it. And I think I am on a sweet spot right now, and I hope it lasts. With businesses, with all businesses, you have to change over time. So I'm hoping I don't have to change for a while. Because if you don't, you end up like a Kmart or a JCPenney, or, if Best Buy don't do something quick, they're going to be history. So you have to change no matter what you do. I've gone through, I don't know how many name changes. When I first started selling on eBay, I was called Just a Collectible. I was selling just collectible CDs and toys because I started with my own collection, which was a lot of rare and hard to find stuff. When those dried up, I changed the name to Just Music, because it was more just common stuff than it was collectible stuff. And then after, I actually had a second eBay account at one time called Brick Alley Cat. While I was doing media on Just Music, I was doing other stuff on Brick Alley Cat. I still love that name. So, but I stopped using that quite a while ago. And then I changed the name to Urban Picker. And my eBay ID is still Urban Picker. But then after a while, I'm like, I wanted to create something better than just Urban Picker. Urban Picker is what people call me. I want to create a store. I want to create a story. And so I used my life story with my mom being in an orphanage and teaching me how to dumpster dive and all that. I just basically laid the facts out there and was honest and let everybody see who I was, where I came from. And that's what kind of built the Redoption Agency. And the feedback I get on the name, people love it. I had a couple people on my Facebook ad, I had to delete the comments because they were going on about how redoption means you're selling adopted kids. I'm like, what? I'm like, all right, I got to Google redopted. So, of course, I Googled it, and there's no such word as redopted. I know I created it. I Googled it before I did. But there is readoption, and it has nothing to do with selling kids. It's actually when you say you adopt a child in, say, Africa, but you're in the United States, and you bring the child to America, then you have to go through a readoption process. So That's what readoption means. So I had two people just attacking me on there out of their ignorance about what they think. Just like the internet, everybody knows everything about everything. And I'm just like, please get your story straight, please. All right. Well, I'll stop it for there because this is probably pretty long. So thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.